Hello there. Yeah, why am I muted? Strange. Welcome in, everyone. Hi, I'm Chef Jay Tay, if that didn't come across before. Hello there, Sniper. Welcome in, Will. Hello, Rose Witch. Hello, JK4T. Thank you for the resub, JK4T. Let's see here. I know we have Muskeg hanging out in here. We got a wild Sofluff. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday to you all. Coffee. Welcome in, Nan Reader. I was a little late getting coffee started, so it was making noise to start the stream. Not sure why. I didn't make it unscramble. Well, when you typed !scramble, it said there was 2 minutes and 23 seconds left. Last time. You've typed it again now. So we're doing Arizona tonight. We're doing hot dogs tonight, too. But not your normal hot dogs. And yeah. It was sort of between doing Sonora Dogs and doing chimichangas. Hey, goat. Welcome, Melvin. How are you? Nice. Well, if anyone's curious what we have going on tonight, I will be making my own rolls tonight for my hot dogs. They're typically made out of a Mexican, more simpler roll, but it's still an egg roll. And then I'm going to be taking good old beef hot dogs. I found a pack of 4 of them, which is awesome. That's exactly what it is, Melvin. I'm taking hot dogs. I found a pack of 4 of them. Just straight beef hot dogs. We're going to wrap the hot dogs in bacon. I'm going to make a pinto bean mixture. I'm going to do raw onion. I'm going to do cooked onion. I'm going to make up a sort of semi-pico, maybe a jalapeno heavy pico. And yeah. So that is the toppings for this fine evening. Thank you for the resub, Zahara. Nice. And hey, the bot fixed things midstream. I went back there. I don't know. Maybe chat wish I didn't fix this midstream. But after JK's subscription earlier, when it gave everyone sprinkles twice and alerted everyone twice, I walked him back and said, hey, stop doing that. And it fixed it for when Zahara did it. That's nice for me. I don't know. Maybe you all prefer more sprinkles. Relaxation time. Calm. Until I have my next stress out. What the fuck was that? Huh? Huh? You mean the lovely half and half that I added in there? Cheers, everyone. Greatly appreciate all of you hanging out with me tonight. Cheers. Once again, I guess. Because I can't even remember what I said 2 seconds ago. Yes. I buy from a local dairy that, well, semi-local dairy that does all in glass. They have refunds. They charge a deposit when you buy a bottle. They have a $3 bottle deposit on them. But these are like the small bottles. They have, full half gallon. They also have the cream tops to their milks and their creams. Not so much for their half and half. All right, so we got to get going, Brit. And I don't have the thingy I had open earlier that I was going to use for this. And history only shows recent local history. There we go. That was easy to find. Oh, hey, clean bowl. Ready to use. The recipe I'm following for these rolls tonight is actually relatively close to my normal dinner roll recipe, with the addition of some heavy egg. Do a splash of half and half in with some warm water. Oops, gotta go back to cutting board scene. And some of the last of our yeasties. Yeah, I'm going to be using, when I say heavy egg, I'm going to be using, actually, maybe I'll use up the egg yolks that I have in the fridge. We'll use egg yolks. Make it even richer. But it has the ratio that I'm doing, which is, I'm hoping is going to work out to be about 4 hot dog buns. Uses 2 cups of flour, uses a cup of water, so it's a 50% hydration. And then it's also got an egg in there. And I'm going to throw in a bit of extra egg in there. And then they're also brushed with the remainder of the second egg. Or washed with the second egg. But otherwise, it's AP flour, not bread flour. So it makes it much easier for a lot more people to make, because a lot of people, if they have flour at all, they'll have AP flour, at least in the US. And I'm forgetting the butter. Maybe let's go from this side. I was supposed to have this warming up for a bit. So we got our yeast waking up in water with a splash of dairy. We got our butter. Now we'll do our flour. No, we'll just do... Yeah, I switched between Kerrygold and Clover, which is a organic, sort of like the best of the conventional versus the best of the organic. Salt. Wake up, yeasties. You're not shy because how many people are watching you? You're not shy from only 14 people watching, are you? It's also my difference between salted and unsalted butter in my house. The Kerrygold is salted. And the other sticks are unsalted. I use the other ones more often. Second batch here's a little taller, so I'm cutting an extra stick. So can I cut all of them without it falling? Success. Nope. Welcome in, they can see me. I prefer my public library. Yes, there are options for those things through the public library. I generally don't like systems. Well, Audible isn't really that, but I'm generally not a fan of closed ecosystem architecture, whether it's Apple or any of them, technology-wise, because if you've been around for more than 20 years, you'll realize that businesses don't stay around, and they very often get harvested for their parts. And so unless you're picking a company that doesn't die, which I think a lot of people are hoping that Apple doesn't die right now, they just get sold out for parts, and your data gets sold off for parts. And it's not something I want to be a part of. People steal enough of my data as it is, and I say that as someone who is cooking online with I don't know how many hours of my face recorded. I don't know why I put that on the cutting board. It's going in with the flour anyways. Wake up, yeasties. certainly possible. I've seen the demise of Kmart and several other big names like Sears, Kmart. You know, how many major big box department stores have died? Like, there's no promise that the U.S. most popular one is going to win out over whatever the top Amazon equivalent in China or India is with billions more customers. They're probably making less per customer if you look at their differences in currencies, but there's a lot more of them. Blockbuster's another great example. Like, who thought Blockbuster was going to die to that vending machine outside of 7-Eleven? Not that 7-Eleven's doing all that great these days either. They keep trying to say they're going to take it over and redo it in the Japanese style. I don't see it happening. You're not being very active there, Yeasties. Are you just sitting on the bottom there? Why don't we give you a little bit of sugar? It's not a part of this recipe, but you're not being very... Does anyone else find how... I don't know how to phrase this. It seems... I still don't know how to phrase this. I guess I'll just say it's very odd that when you're in the supermarket today, you see three things right next door to each other. Like, right next to each other. That is the California lottery machine, the coin swap machine, and squeezed in between those two in most places I have seen is a Pokemon machine. You think there's any... I don't know, that was a little bit of a divergence from talking about major chains dying, but the talk about the vending machines at supermarkets got me thinking about that. Okay, our yeast has risen back from hitting the bottom there. I'm gonna trust it. I can see some bubble patterns in the milk there. You can sort of see them there. Sort of ripples, little whiter areas where the bubbles have found easy paths up. And we'll mix this all together. You're an island, what the heck is that? Are you familiar with Pokemon? It's quite a craze online, and there's all sorts of people that are streamers that just sit there and open Pokemon card packs. Oh, I'm sorry. Pronunciation, I guess. But yeah, we have It looks almost identical to the California lottery vending machine. It's a giant screen. Like, it's a bigger screen than I have back there for my TV. Just done vertically. With, you know, all the different packs that you can buy. And they're all sold out because immediately after it's packed, or even as it's being packed, people are buying them. So we'll get this mixed together, and then I'll add the egg in here. Now we'll add the egg in here. I don't want it completely mixed, but I do want it roughly together. So this one, just going to go in whole. I'm going to crack it and make sure I don't get any shell in the rest of this, though. Make sure it isn't a nasty egg or something. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the ones that... Oh, I said I was going to use my eggs that I have, my yolks that I already have. Darn it. I don't like how those yolks look. It's been a minute since they've been sitting in the fridge. They obviously had dried out some, at the very least. Oh, we're going to an ad break and I didn't hear an announcement. My bad. My alert didn't go off in my ear, or I didn't pay attention to it going off in my ear. And I don't need a ton of egg for egg wash, so I'm going to try and split this egg white, which can be dangerous. But I think I got enough there that we can survive with that, especially since I want to put a drop of dairy in with it. Ooh, and a shell that I didn't even see. Okay, this isn't working. I need to get my hands dirty, I guess. So, as I mentioned, this dough isn't too far off from my normal dinner roll. However, all of that egg is on top of it, so it's considerably wetter dough than I'm used to working for my dinner rolls. Which is fine for a really soft, like, dinner type, for a hot dog roll or soft roll. It's still sort of strange that it's using AP flour instead of, say, a bread flour or something that's going to give you a softer finished product. Well, someone guesses it, it'll give you a definition, goat. Or at least it'll try to. It'll ask Wikipedia or Wiki Dictionary. I forget what it is. I don't think it's Wikipedia. I think it's like some other similar. So I think the plan here is I'm going to four-corner fold this as it poofs. There you go. Nice, man, reader. Okay, so that's going to hang out for a bit. We can start working on other things now. We got our wash for that. We got that. Okay, I think next up here is getting our pintos going. We're going to rinse these because I don't want the aquafaba. I am not a vegan. I think that's pretty obvious from the food that I'm making, especially tonight. But the liquid that is stored in cans with beans, I've talked about this many times before. Vegans love that stuff. It's good for all sorts of stuff. It's good as an alternative to egg whites in many baking applications and stuff like that. I guess we'll grab a bowl to let those continue to drain. I actually need to use this onion in 3 ways tonight. It's a menage onion. It was. Incredibly thin layers on this onion. Okay, let's see. We need the raw onions for topping. We need raw onions for pico. And we need onions for with the beans. But I think we're just going to dice all of it and split it into 3. You do you? Do you feed it cheese? Have you named it Ratatouille? Sounds like you and Yasmin Gold get right along. Imagine being a big enough streamer that you only stream on your second channel because people only talk about you badly about mentioning your first channel. Did I say that? No, I don't think you do, but that's fine. Do I want to use this, or I guess I'll use this for the beans. Oh no, I'm a nobody. Like, it isn't worth people to even come in here and make fun of me for other content. Like, yeah. I can sit here and insult Asmongold, and no one cares, despite him having a legion of... I could sit here and, talk about Hassan. No one cares. What happened to my music? It's just quiet enough I can't hear it right now. How's my earbud volume doing? That's why I can't hear it. Wait until it starts smoking. I'm using olive oil tonight instead of my usual sunflower, so it's going to have a lower smoke point. Only around 350 instead of higher. The olive oil industry came out and had a study done showing that smoking oil is not necessarily degrade the quality of olive oil, and olive oil, despite having a lower smoke point, should still be used for cooking. I think that's a big bunch of hogwash. If it's smoking, it's not acting as a good oil. I've been using a bit of avocado oil lately. I think it was Italy, but yeah, close. It's same difference. Like, there just aren't enough Americans olive oil companies. So they are typically who I go to for my olive oil because I don't know why, despite, you know, I don't think America is necessarily any better about just repackaging products and calling it our own than Italy is. I still buy the American one over the Italian ones in hopes that it's actual olive oil, despite studies showing that basically none of them are. I'm doing this wrong. Yeah. There. Interesting definition that it went for one who roasts food instead of. I hear the word roaster and I think of chicken sizes. Like, it isn't so very often anymore in the US that you see this, but like when I was a kid, you very often had, you know, different sizes of chickens. Like you have the roaster and a broiler bird and not so much just a chicken. Now it's all gigantic chicken breasts and overpriced chicken thighs. Don't know that much about turkeys. I do know that they only really harvest them once a year. It takes about 9 months to properly raise them for harvesting. Let's do our so-called four-corner fold on this. Okay, we're doing a 5-corner fold. And set that, let it poof a bit more. A lot of people have turkey for Easter here. Maybe it's just seasons lining up when it's better to do things. Our harvest in the U.S. is around Thanksgiving. Maybe it's just the marketing from Thanksgiving ages ago defining when our season, what our season is. But it also makes sense that European would flip from the States, if only to have a different sales period. I think most families around here have ham for Easter. Not sure though. Like, that isn't off of some study I've read or something, and it's just my guess. Turn the flame way down low on that. Too low. There we go. And I'm going to give that a touch more oil. We'll give it a spritz of oil. Mix that in. I don't know, I'm beginning to like this recipe more and more because we're having essentially 3 forms of onions on these hot dogs. And I am not exactly an enemy of onions. We're going to have fresh, cooked, and pickled. If you consider the onion that's going to be going into the pico essentially pickled, because it's going to be there with lime juice and salt and acidity from the tomato. Yeah, I forgot about lamb. Yeah, lamb's a big one too. I don't know that many people approve of it, but I've done rabbit before. So we're going to take some of our cooked onions here and save them for on top of the hot dogs. Actually, it's even worse if you're eating rabbit in the U.S. You don't even want to handle it raw because it can transfer disease. Like, we have diseases here in the U.S. that you get from rabbits, and most farm rabbits are not excluded from this, despite them being less likely. But handling the raw meat can skin transfer. I forget what it is, but it's something. It's apparently much less in Canada, and it's not really a thing in Europe, but it's a thing here in the States. little chicken bouillon in with water. We're using this instead of what was in with the beans before. And turn the heat back up on that. We'll add our drained pintos in with this. Can't say that I did. I did play the game a handful of times, but I'm not going to be able to tell you I played this level or on this console. I had Nintendo and Sega Genesis. That's the limits of my console life. And then I got hooked on EverQuest, and like I didn't play anything else for years. I had over half a year in-game played on my main character alone. Actually, it's probably even higher, but that was at one point. I'm just waiting for someone to make Sony mad and come out with an AI graphic version with updated everything. I mean, they already allow you to basically redo the UI. I'm sure they'd get soon to the moon and back, but I'm still shocked that no one's made a wrapper at this point. I was actually thinking about that earlier today. You could do that for several older games. Like, you could rewrap all the old Diablos too. Probably make a fortune. Maybe, but I have zero interest in coding video games. have about similar interest in coding the graphics for them. Yeah. But it's something that if you were someone out there that's like, there's people out there with like advanced graphics knowledge doing things like, like you have people, these RP communities out there for Red Dead and GTA and other games, like are basically rewriting the games these days and redoing the graphics to fit roleplay scenarios. I don't think there's any question that there's talent out there that could do that for rappers on old games. I just have, like, I have zero knowledge in even starting in on it. And people will sit there and tell you they hate AI and all the things that it's creating, and there'll probably be a fair number of people that hate you for that. At the same time, there's going to be people that, you know, don't care. All right, where are we? We're waiting on our beans. Our beans are almost back to bubbling. Now let's add some seasoning with these. We'll do some cumin, garlic. Maybe some tagine. And we'll do the smoked salt. That was tagine. I am firmly in the camp. And I'll be honest, GMOs sort of got me in this camp to begin with. I have yet to see GMOs be used in terms of agriculture and creating things. I've yet to see them really be used for anything other than padding people's pockets. Like, we have the ability, I've talked about this before, what do we do with the ability of GMO and be able to create the most flavorful, most delicious, most beautiful looking apple you've ever seen? No, we make it so it doesn't turn brown so you can package it and sell it. AI, same exact thing. It's a technology. It's not going to disappear. In fact, it's getting to the point where people can basically use it in their own homes, on their own systems. It's not disappearing. You got to make it work for us. We got to make the government make it work for us. Hey, Dragon. Hey, Knowledge. I'm going to be smashing my beans. I have a feeling a fair number of Sonora Dog fans go with straight whole beans, whole pintos, but I am going to be smashing mine. We'll give them a little more time to cook down break down a little bit more, because I don't want them to be firm beans. I don't want them to be beans like I'm eating, beans and franks. I want them almost refried beans. In fact, I thought they were refried beans when I chose this recipe, but after reading, apparently it's just straight normal pinto beans. Let's see here. I'll let the bread sit a little bit longer. I think it's time we get going on pico. Going pretty small on my dice here for my pico because it's going on hot dogs. It doesn't need to be huge. In fact, it's better that it's small, is what I mean. What did I do with my... I went into silence mode as I started chopping here, I guess. How's our beans looking? Bubbling nicely. Those look like they're well cooked through. I'm gonna cut the heat on that for now. Working on the last tomato here. We're almost there. However, I'm noticing my blade's getting a little, complaining a little bit with the skins now. It's dull now, but it's going through the skins a little bit better because I strained it. hand's shaking too much on me. Well, maybe you're cutting it the wrong way. Maybe you're cutting it your way. As long as it isn't unsafe. I would say that there's a right and a wrong way to order the steps you take. I would say that there's potentially a right and a wrong way to cut things depending on the knife you're using. Beyond that, as long as you're being safe. Like, I did those in 2 different methods in the way of doing that, and it took longer for me to do the tomatoes because I did them in a different method. If you notice, I did each of the tomatoes individually. And so I sliced them individually, I then julienned them individually, and then I diced them individually. If I had sliced them all together and then julienned them all together and then diced them all together, it would greatly cut down the time it took me to cut them. Which is sort of how I did the peppers. I could have done the peppers even more streamlined. And if you're working in a kitchen, the fastest way is really the only way. Like, the fastest way is the way to the most money in most cases. It's usually not the safest. But I ain't your boss. So where are you? Bottle o' lime. You are hidden. You're down there underneath things for some reason. Lime juice. Huh. Bad planning on my part. Let me fix that. And go back here. Put a can in here for tonight for me to have with my peels. Okay. Got that, and that. We need cilantro. And I'm just using freeze-dried cilantro tonight. Salt. Black pepper. There is the beginnings of our pico. Now it just needs to hang out. Let that salt break it down a little bit. Taco Bell fans, it has been so long. I don't know if they still even have it. Do they still have pico at Taco Bell? Can you substitute pico for their tomatoes? I just have this faint memory of them having like a fresh menu like ages ago with a pico and it being so much better than their regular tomatoes. I don't go to Taco Bell like hardly ever anymore, so I mean, I don't even know. You hate that pico has cilantro. I can see that being a negative for people that are cilantro adverse. I mean, the only real, price-wise, it can't be that much more to them. I mean, complexity is the hardest part there. The veggies are going to cost them basically the same because they're probably having contracted people grow the tomatoes, grow the jalapeños, grow the onions, grow whatever else they're using for it, the limes. And they'll have tools to make it cheaper because they can just use citric instead of lime too. Mixing it, salt, and thyme are what make it more expensive. That and their tomatoes. I don't know. I don't know if they pair up with someone or something, but like their diced tomatoes is like all tops of tomatoes too. Like, I don't know, maybe this has changed. This is just my past memory of the place. But, like, top of the hour ad time. We're hanging out and let the bread poof. I'm going to give it a 4 or 5 corner turn now. And I will see you when you get back from the ads. Hi, Abby. I think it's going to be another 5. I could have actually made it 6. Actually, we are going to make it 6. Really wet dough, but it is somewhat coming together. I mean, that is a ball. So these have started cooling down nicely. I think it's time we start mashing these. We back from ads. We back from that. Hey, Twitch. Oh no, we're only halfway through. Let's see here. What else do we need to get prepped? We need to get our oven up to temp. What oven temp are we doing this with? I'm gonna guess 400 for 20 minutes. Ooh, a 350er. Still 20 minutes. That's sort of a surprise. Like, these are looking lighter though, too. Maybe I want to go... Yeah, I don't know if I want to listen to them. I think I want to do 400. That is one advantage to the people who put pictures with their recipes. I can say, yeah, you undercooked those. And turn it oven up. It's also the advantage of not broadcasting what recipe I'm following, because I'm not really following it all that well to begin with. That also gave me the idea of something I have to do with the bot. Got a new idea that I gotta have the bot pull out pictures for my recipes. It's already going through all my old videos eventually. I mean, I've gone through them for both a quadrant and a aperture database now. So I've got all of the details, and I've got beginning video database stuff. I've now got 3 databases for my videos. I've got my main database, that's working with SprinkleBot that's keeping track of the like basic details on everything. I've got the Aperture database that's my visual database, and I've got the quadrant, or the modern database, the fractal database. I can only remember Aperture database because of Half-Life and Portal. We're back from ads, so I'm gonna smash my beans. Is that enough smashing? I think that's enough smashing. Sorry for the banging. I didn't really have a better way of doing that. I did try and lift the pan and do several things to make it a little quieter. That was a cherry of a scramble. So, somewhere in between refried beans and pinto beans there. We need to give this another 10-15 minutes here. What else can we do while we're setting up for this? We can do one of these. I need... So we got the pico that's going to go on top of our bacon dog. But that's not the only topping going on here. We've got also... Okay, it's the oven I'm feeling. You have pico. You have the onions. You have mustard. And you have mayo. So we need a mayo squirter. If you got Kewpie at home, this is an easy job for Kewpie. Or if you got a mayo bottle with a nozzle to it. But I do not, so I'm going to put a little mayo in a disposable pastry bag. And we're going to give that a pretty fine tip. Why is that there? Why is it saying that? I just told it to get rid of that from the stats. Did it add it back in? I both told it to get rid of the newest VIP, which it is very obviously hallucinating, even though it's not supposed to be connected to, that part is not supposed to be collected to my old llama. Anyways, it's still throwing newest VIP up there. I told it to get rid of that, and I told it to bring up a couple other ideas for me, and it brought up another couple cool ideas for stats. But I think it re-added the VIP one right back in. And I'm pretty sure I also double-checked that list, so I don't know if it didn't take, or I don't know. No, that's LLMs for your knowledge. They love, oh, that's the way it's supposed to. Well, we're going to do that again. I don't care what you just told me the last prompt. We're going to keep. There's a half dozen things that I keep fighting LLMs, like trying to add back into things, trying to. Like recently I've been working with one thing where you can choose a bunch of different models of local things, of local LLMs, and it keeps stumbling over and keep putting back on the same one when it doesn't even exist anymore. Like, I've been trying to get rid of this phantom Olama model for like a month now, at least a couple of weeks. And we're about to go into, I'm half tempted to just turn all of my PCs off and just say no to the internet for the next couple of years. Like, between what AI is, the big push now, and all of the spyware AI and threat AI, bugs, and there's been a boom in, like simple scripts that are doing things in different ways that were never imagined because AI can dream them up. And there is going to have to be a period of time for that, for the security people to catch up onto that. And then you add world politics into the game, and that isn't looking all that much greater either. I'm people stealing SIM codes is one thing too, but that's also probably almost as much government messing with your stuff, because now every government agency under that you can name is using stingers in some form. So you don't know if it's your local police department or the county department or the state department driving through your neighborhood, knocking you off of your Wi-Fi onto theirs so they can collect data, or if it's someone actually being malicious and actually hacking your SIM. It's not fun. That's even without getting into the companies providing data to the police, to the feds. I think a Wi-Fi jammer is pretty much burglar 101 these days. Which, how do you fight that as a homeowner? Like, do you get mobile chips for all of your cameras? Like, there was just a post by I think it was the Sonoma County Sheriff talking about busting a burglar. Wi-Fi jammer. I think we're going to take a bit of a break here. I think I'm going to take a little bit of an AFK. And that's mostly just because I want to give this a little bit more time. I want this to... It's basically doubled. It's done its proper poofing, but I want to give it a little more time before I shape it, and then we're going to give it a little more time after I shape it. So it is holding together as a ball much more securely than it was. The picos only get better with time, and the beans are only get better hanging out. So while it does mean a little more time, just hanging out, I'm gonna do it. I think I am going to do a let's see, does that work now? That turned off? Good. I am going to set up a timer, let the music play, and I will let you watch the bread poof. But I'm going to take a 20-minute breather here. I'll see you when we get back. Okay, I'll be back at least for a moment here. We got our bread. We're gonna switch to overview scene. Why am I getting that out? That was not what I wanted. Let's turn tracking back on. Going pretty heavy with my dusting for this since these are so wet, and I'm actually going to cut down on the amount of handling I'm going to do on them. I'm not going to follow the recipe's suggestions because of how wet this dough is. Recipe directions would have me individually balling these. Actually, I'm cutting the recipe in half to begin with, so it would have me cutting this into 8 and individually balling them and then rolling them into a log-like shape. I am just going to form them into a log shape and do my best to stretch them so that we seal them into a nice package, roll them in hopefully enough flour, and then allow them to proof. Do I want to use this, or do I want to use... I think this is going to be the better candidate for this. Just sort of visually cutting out what I'm taking here. Nope, we're dropping it onto the flour. And then I'm sort of sealing the cut together from where it was stripped from the rest. Parchment in a pan. Dry my hands. Coat my hands in flour. And then we're going to roll this. That's 1 of 4. Again, sealing up the sort of like cut-like portion, stretching the skin closed so it doesn't just leak its guts. Done this twice now. Offhand. Dusting. Not doing it a fourth time, or a third time. Welcome. Why, hello there, Raiders. Hello there, John. Thank you for the raid. Hopefully you've made something delicious tonight. What have y'all been up to? I'm working on making buns. I'm making Sonora Dogs tonight, which, if you're unfamiliar, are essentially the Arizona version of hot dogs. We're taking hot dogs, gonna be bacon wrapping them, and then I'm making my own buns, obviously. Putting them in my own buns, which is not your typical hot dog bun. It's a little bit different of a recipe. It's still an egg and heavy enriched dough, but different recipe. And then it gets topped with both cooked and raw onions, which I have in this bowl together. I haven't mixed them well yet. Pico, mustard, and mayo. So that's what you're in store for here tonight. I've been doing different states on Sunday. I'm working my way through all of the U.S. states and U.S. territories that are actually like inhabited with like a history for food for me to work with. So, and I'm going alphabetically. So all of you are just getting here first couple. I have many states to go. So keep tuned. Maybe I'll be doing your favorite state next. Maybe. I'm already taking over a year here to do the states and territory. We have 50 states plus the U.S. territories. We're doing over a year. I think it's a year and 2 or 3 months. There's also some gaps because I have other things conflicting. So it's going to be a little while before we can get there, but I might need something new to do after that. That could be a good candidate. So this has turned out to be a very wet bread dough for anyone just tuning in now. So I have been very delicately handling this dough. Do I want to put a slit in the top of these? I don't really want to. I sort of feel like I need to, but I don't really want to. I might have to do two. Well, let's do 2 small ones rather than, because I don't want it expanding greatly. Like, I don't want them to expand out. I want them to mostly upward. And so I'm going to go really light with my cuts and just do 2 of them. And in a very straight up outward direction. Oven's already preheated, so these, we need to both let these sit for a minute, but I need to wash these too. Getting ahead of myself. This is a little bit of egg white left over from making these earlier with a drop of half and half in it. I'm going to use that for my wash. I mean, this dough is soft enough that the brush is catching it. So let's see. Korean fried chicken sliders and spring bibimbap. 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 Bibimbap was always one of the big hits at the CIA at student lunch. You had like set monthly schedules that most of the kitchens and most of the classes kept to. And Cuisines of Asia had, I forget if it was a week or a couple of days that they did bibimbap. Bibimbap. It's just fun to stay, if not only fun to eat, because it's a sort of a mix it together as you like and pick your own bite type deal. Or at least as it was taught to me. Hey, Tanaloa. Wish I had a squirt bottle. Do a little squirt of water on these as they go in there. I do have a squirt bottle, but I don't know if it's got something nasty in it right now. And I don't think I want to use it after saying that. I have a squirt bottle that, in its history, has had bleach in it a long time ago, but in more recent years has had nothing but vinegar and water in it. Oh yeah, autocorrect is great. The captions are great in general, but the autocorrect helps. Alright, let's clean this up. Let's scrape this clean first. But how have you been, if you're still lurking, John? I understand if you've raided and run, or busy eating, or busy breaking down the kitchen. I hope you have been well. I hope you have nothing but good news lately. Okay, brief cleanup. That's not sanitary, but it's got all the flour off of it at least. And I think I'm just going to go with these rather than let them sit here and deflate more and flop. 400-degree oven in the back. I'm going to take a look at them in 18 minutes. And while those are cooking, it's hot dog time. I know hot dogs are technically safe to eat. I'm still going to pull out the protein board. Especially since we have bacon, but bacon's that way too. It may not be delicious raw, but you should be able to just eat bacon out of the package. Don't do that. That is not a suggestion. But technically, there's also like uncured stuff out there, and don't eat raw bacon. That was not a suggestion. $10 seconds. Give me 15. we're going to an ad, so I will hopefully see you soon. I do last 3 minutes of the hour for ads. So, hope to see you back soon. Let me see, are those... Huh. Well, they're off. I don't know why they're not firing tonight. I don't know why the overlays for the ads aren't going tonight. Oh well. I am a crispy bacon fan myself. Rip crispy bacon. If you know the meme, you know the meme. Nope. We need that to be a little bit tighter of a wrap. Yeah, there we go. Crispy bacon may actually be a pre-internet joke. Or early, it's definitely an early internet joke. I'm getting the impression that no one knows of this meme. That's not a debate. That's just happening. Like, there's no question in there. You see, think of the people that don't have cake. Happy birthday to everyone that has a birthday this year. Good, I'm covered now. Good back crack. If there is such a thing. Felt good. Probably not great. I guess I could have done 3 of them. Like, I have 4 strips of bacon. I could have added a third strip to each of those. It's not going to happen now. But that could have happened. How you doing, John Ray? Welcome in. I'm gonna do all 4. Actually, no, we should give this another couple of minutes here, actually. Because we have about 6.5 minutes until I check on the bread being done. It's probably going to need another 2 minutes in my opinion. I'm checking at 18. I'm assuming it's going to be 20. Which then turns into 21, 22 with me checking it and resetting the time and wanting to compensate for opening the door. Anyways, we're going to have the hot dogs ready too early if we've got like 8-9 minutes still on the bread. The problem with the warehouse place is they all sell you a gazillion pounds of it. Like, I have to cross out a fair amount of that stuff that's there, just like, I'm not going to go through it. It's going to get half wasted or quarter wasted or a tenth wasted even, but that ruins the price. We're just chilling. I haven't had these brand before. I bought them because they came in a pack of 4. I'm planning I'm probably going to take out at least 1, probably 2 of these tonight. I'm definitely not taking out 4 of them, especially with all of that bacon. But 2 meals, I don't want more than that, especially with my streaming schedule. We'll give this a mix up here and make sure the love is getting all around. I mixed this and made this earlier. Just using Roma tomatoes and lots of jalapeno in there, a little bit of sweet onion, lime, freeze-dried cilantro. Yeah. And that's not quite half price. But you gotta buy 4 to 6 pounds. Well, that's fine and that's awesome too, and it helps you keep the price point, but freezing things also doesn't make them... Like, I haven't tested bacon, how well it freezes or not when it's uncooked, but in general, things being frozen, both, it's going to cost you the money to keep it frozen in the freezer, regardless of keeping a full freezer is the best way to keep a freezer. You're going to pay to keep that freezer running, and it's for a lower quality product. Like, it's a choice. Cool. Let's see what our pico's like. Probably a little bit spicy. A little bit of heat with that. It's jalapeno, but wow. Not that much heat, voice. Thick bacon definitely helps that, but I don't know if I really love thick bacon all the time. It's definitely got its uses and it's definitely got its times. I don't know. I don't think I'm as big of a fan of the thick bacon as I used to be. Excuse me. Welcome in, bakery. Maybe we can start heating our pan now. Down to the last minute on our bread before we give it our first check. So those of you who saw the buns before they went into the oven, do you think they're going to spread enough that they touched and made friends? There's your answer. Let's go back in the oven. Yeah, you're gonna go through it too. I'll have trouble going through a single pound pack of bacon. I have to find ways to spread it out. And actually, I just threw one out and grabbed a fresh pack for today because, yeah, I didn't like the way it looked after using it the first half of it. Being precise with my temperatures for that pan. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add those back in. Are you working again, or are you not working at all tonight? Are you not working at all tonight? It was switching earlier, wasn't it? Well, now I may have turned it back off. There, it worked. Okay. So now it's on. These are apparently either done in a pan or grilled. See, they sort of, two of these here sort of split and went that way. These ones held together a bit better. This one had a split, but mostly went this way with that. Yeah, maybe I should have just gone with the sides. Well, then it would have done what these did anyways. I probably shouldn't have cut them at all with as wet as the dough was. Homemade toffee syrup. What's the difference between caramelized sugar syrup and toffee syrup? Ooh, I like me some saltwater taffy. Most of it's pretty bland in flavor, but I like that chew candy type action. Good stuff. Like, they'll have 101 flavors, but there'll be 101 bland flavors that are mildly banana-like. Yeah, these ain't Sonoma Dogs. Sonoma Dogs would be some, like... I don't even know what. Like... Nope, that wasn't time yet. Those needed a bit longer on that side. There's a certain amount of rendering we got to do here with the bacon in order to get it to really do its thing. Bread is okay. I'm mildly okay with these two. I don't like how these spread. Like, these are almost decent hot dog buns here. There's almost enough thickness there that we can work with. These ones have spread out instead of poofing. I didn't look at the bottom. How did the bottoms turn out? Bottoms are nice. It's always good to have a nice bottom. Nope. Let's see if the center one's doing any better. Not really. A little bit. I guess we'll go hotter with our flame. This is taking too long this way. But I do want to make sure we're cooking our bacon nice and crispy and against the... I think grilling these is probably the wrong play. Like, I like a good grilled hot dog, but I think with the bacon and hot dog combo, you're going to be cooking at a too high of a temp to get the bacon well cooked without... I also like almost charring my hot dogs if I'm grilling them. You know, that little bitter flavor to it just, I think, just enhances the flavor. Toffee syrup is made with brown sugar and butter and cooked to a thicker consistency versus caramel syrup, which is usually just sugar and water. Thank you. Hopefully after you're done cooking it. Nope. Outside ones need longer, maybe. How do you look? You're okay. You can turn. Hey, Barrett. Oh, the angle of the cam, you're sort of getting the uncooked view all the way through. You're not a Pogacha fan? It's another fun word to say. Oh, we're going to leave you on that side there, right there for a moment. You know, I was going to go with the typical slot down with these, but I think these are going to be best if I can just cut into the side here. Treat it almost like a sub bun. Let everyone see the crumb of our bread there. Nice, airy, soft bread. Can't even cut bread. The knife's so dull. And crumb on our second one there. It smells pretty good in here. I do have the fan going, but yeah, it's pretty bacony in here right now. Nope, we still need you there. Yep, right there. I thought I was going to pull one of those out, but no, all of those needed at least a little more time on at least one more side. Are you saying there's lots to love here? Lots of jalapeno. That's a pretty nice looking dog right there. That looks pretty well wrapped and pretty well cooked. Turn the flame off. We're starting to get to a smoke with the oil or the pork fat. Welcome in, Tiki Hat. I met you the other day. You're a cool artist streamer on Twitch here. Alright, so we got our Sonora Dogs cooked. We got our bread baked. I think it's time to make dinner. I'm going to start off with the beans, which I'm hoping have not lost their temp. Well, they're a little cooler than I thought. let's give those a couple seconds under the heat here. Oops. Hydration time. I cooked these and seasoned these pinto beans a bit earlier. I smashed them a bit. So they're not quite refried beans. They're getting there the more I stir them now. Alright, that didn't do a ton of heating, but enough to have them not be just room temp. Trying to portion for 4 here. We got our raw and cooked onion. I'm going to mix together with my hand here, which may have been a mistake. We'll see. We'll drizzle those on top of our beans. Just cooking for myself, folks. I'm not too concerned with being perfectly hygienically clean for when I'm cooking for myself. That said, I don't try to be a dirtball either. But that is not how you would portion those onions if you were in a restaurant unless you were wearing a glove. If you're wearing a glove, it's all free game. And whether you wash or clean your gloves or not. And then let's pick a couple of dogs here. Let's go with you, since you are gorgeous. And let's go with second gorgeous. Now this could be quite messy, but I'm going for it anyways. Stay. Please, stay. Now we do the mustard. And mayo. Hey, El Capitano. Welcome, welcome. Let's get a photo or two of this for the Discords and wherever else I shall may or may not choose to post it. And then we're going to take it a step further. I doubt any of you would be eating this way, and I'm not really planning to eat it this way. As long as you're following the channel, thank you for the follow. But I am going to slice this in half to try and give a view of all of our toppings in there. Let's give everyone a close-up from this view, if I can, without dumping everything on the plate. Trying to keep it looking at me. Oh, we can go to the side view too. Got the beans and the onions on bottom, the hot dog, pico, mustard, mayo. Bacon wrapped hot dog with fresh made bread. Not 100% in love with how the bread turned out. Like, it's very soft. I think it's going to be a delicious bread, but I wish I had gotten a little bit more lift out of it. And that's partially how I did it, partially how wet of a dough I kept it. But that is where I am intending to leave things for this lovely evening. Why you making noise, Drain? Hush. It's trying to spin the other. So I'm happy how that turned out overall. Like I said, I'm not 100% in love with how the buns turned out, but with practice comes better results. I don't think I'm one of those people that thinks perfection is unattainable. But yes, practice makes you much closer to perfect. And it has been quite a while since I've worked with a dough that wet. It was good to experience. Should have worked a little bit more on getting that well seamed up and stretched into their roll shaped. But otherwise, I think that was a very successful evening. I shall be back here tomorrow night. Yes, tomorrow. Sunday, Monday is my back-to-back nights. Otherwise, I'm on 4 nights a week. Thank you for the follow, Agentic Wizard. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a play on Alfredo. Most of you probably hear Alfredo and you're thinking pasta, but I am going to be doing Alfredo beans and a romaine salad or a Caesar salad to go with our beans. We've got other lovely stuff coming up. Wednesdays, as always, is ingredient challenge. The vote for that is active in the Discord. What is our current vote? What is our challenge? Oh, I remember now. It's Funyuns. So the onion ring. It's weird how things work out with the ingredient challenge and which ones all of you choose. We've got the vote this week between Funyuns, which, if you're unfamiliar, are like an onion ring snack. They're like in the chip aisle type thing. And frozen onion rings. So it's like the battle of onion rings, whether you want the snack aisle onion ring or you want the frozen onion ring. Whichever wins, I'm going to have to do for dinner and dessert, so sweet and savory use of onion rings. Tune in on Wednesday if that excites you. And always, we're continuing states next week as well. With Arkansas, going to be doing crawfish, hush puppies, and cheese sauce, because queso is also an Arkansas creation. So we're doing essentially cheese queso with tortilla chips, hush puppies, and fried catfish. That is next Sunday. I wish you all a lovely start to your week, and I hope to see you.